Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Boku no Hero Academia Season 2, Episode 23. So, my worries for this one were dispelled upon watching it. Because last week I said I was worried about if they crammed all the rest of these things, except for Izuku and Bakugo's match, all into one episode. I didn't know if it would be too rushed. I didn't know if they would have enough time for everything, but in my opinion, after watching that, I don't think it was rushed. Of course, if you gave each match more time, they would have probably been better, more memorable, but I don't think there weren't any where I was like, oh, it needed more time. Everything got enough to be what they needed to be, but either way, I'll talk about it all part by part so I don't forget anything, so let's get into discussing things. The first thing that happened was the continuation, or really the ending of the fifth match, which was Uraraka and Aoyama versus 13, and Aoyama saying what he said causes her to let go, so she flies backwards, uses her martial arts that she learned from Gunhead to take down 13, and then his other arm's grabbed by Aoyama and they capture him. They pass their test. It makes me think, because of the way that Aoyama reacted and everything, I kind of feel like he may have purposefully done that to make that happen. Maybe I'm giving Aoyama too much credit. Maybe I'm thinking he's smarter than he actually is, but I don't know, I kind of feel like he may have did that on purpose. But either way, between the matches, I love what this episode did during and between all the matches, but there was a decently large segment of it after that match where they have the characters talking in the observation room. I guess that'd be a good word to call it, or string of words rather. But I love that. I love all the class characters and getting some development for the relationships between one another. I just like seeing them interact and seeing the different ones and how they're all friends and all pretty close. So it's all good. And I love as well that all of those little interactions are important to the development of those characters and how they'll interact with each other more in the future. So we have Izuku, Aizawa, Ida, and Momo watching at that point, and we have the next test, which is Ashido and Kaminari versus Nedzu. So Nedzu is hilarious in this whole thing. I love his character so much, and this is where in the manga I came to really love his character. But his quirk is high specs, and pretty much what it does is that he's an animal, but he's smarter than a human, and he's pretty much the most intelligent being on the planet, is how I remember the manga translating it. So yeah, he's got the super smart brainy ability, and it's very much OP. But I love it as well because it's a good quirk for the principal. I love seeing an animal with a quirk even. And I love it. I still keep loving the character. I love that they said he was experimented on by humans, so he kind of gets this sort of, I don't know, kind of sadistic personality, like, come on, outsmart me, figure out my tests. I like that true self sort of leaking out. So Ashido starts trying to melt them an escape path, but Nedzu he's too far ahead of them with planning, and they end up running out of time. So they have failed, becoming the third and fourth person to fail. Then we have Koda and Jiro versus Present Mike, and Present Mike just sends sound blasts throughout the place the whole time, sort of keeping them pressed down, and he's just waiting at the gate, forcing them, you can't leave without fighting me, because his quirk is good against theirs, being both sound-based quirks. Like Koda even says that even if he tried to control animals, Present Mike's voice would just scare all the animals that he was trying to control away. But he's afraid of bugs when Kyoka brings it up that, you could control bugs and we could use that as our method to attack. I loved it though. It was one of my favorite tests from the manga. I love Koda, how he overcomes his fear, and this is the first time we get any sort of development for him really, how he overcomes his fear and ends up controlling the bugs to attack Present Mike and passing the test. And I love Jiro as well, is one of my favorite characters, and I love the development she gets here, and we've had a little development for her, but this is probably the biggest thing we've seen so far for her development. Then next up was a quick Hagakure in Mezzo versus Snipe, and this one really didn't need to be much longer because it was pretty basic. Snipe, if he sees them, his quirk is homing. I guess that means his bullets lock on, but he just is shooting at them and they can't do much except hide. So then in the smoke we have Hagakure get fully naked, and Mezzo then realizes what she's doing, runs out on purpose to try to distract Snipe, and then she ends up slapping the cuffs on him, so that works. And of course the whole her being naked thing was played up for comedy, which, all good, like Hagakure. And really, you would think it would be easy for her to escape being invisible, but I guess as well he could probably sense her, or he has some sort of ability having to do with his homing that would make that difficult. But either way, the teamwork was good, the use of their quirks, it was all really good. And then lastly, we had the Hanta and Mineta versus Midnight test, which was great. Recovery Girl brings up that All Might, Present Mike, Cementoss, and Midnight are all especially difficult to face in this test. All Might because he's completely overpowered, but the other three because their quirks are really, really good at keeping people from escaping or from capturing them. I mean, all any of the three of them would have to do is just camp at the gate and send out their quirks, and whether a person is being affected by the huge blasts of sound throwing them off, and like we saw blowing Jiro's eardrums out, or if they're put to sleep or whatever, or just having walls built up that they can't get through to escape or to get to Cementoss, they have quirks that this test kind of favors them winning. But Midnight, we see, can produce sleep gas. It's her ability. She has the sleep powder. But I love as well, of course, I keep saying that, but how we have Mineta's development, and he said, before the USJ incident, he wanted to be cool, he wanted to be popular, that was his dream, but now he's realized that becoming a hero doesn't make you a cool person. Heroes are heroes because they're cool people, so he wants to be a cool person because that'll make him a hero now. He doesn't want to be a hero because it'll make him a cool person, and he saw that from All Might and Aizawa fighting to protect people, and Izuku as well. So I like, again, how he looks up to Izuku just as a friend and classmate. So then basically says that he lured her away from the gate to escape past her, sticks her to the ground, runs away because she is stuck away from the gate. So yeah, great strategy. It's another thing where he's smart. He played up with her sense of wanting to not camp at the gate but wanting to chase down her prey. He sort of played into her personality and was able to outsmart her. So it's good to see that that sort of Mineta's strategy is the he's more of the brainy but not that great of a fighter kind of hero. But either way, thought that none of it felt rushed. Like I said, I thought it was all good. All 5 tests had their time to do what they needed to do. Do I think it would have been better if the last test, the one against Midnight, would have gotten more time? I think that one could have been better, and I think the Jiro and Kodo one could have been better with more time. But I think either one. I think they were fine the way they were. I love the development throughout this for the class, the teachers, and all of their relationships, and they're all going to be important because, of course, teachers are going to play roles in future arcs, whether it's at school or not at school, and same with all the students and all their different relationships, and different groups of them we'll see throughout different arcs. So I do think that it's really cool, and I think it's good that even the little interactions are important, and none of it is just meaningless, and I think that's good, but none of it's too overly complex for the sake of being complex. It's like, it's really complex and developed the way all the characters fit in together, but it's not, I guess the word would be convoluted. It's not overly convoluted. But yeah, it was just a really good episode. A really good episode full of fun storytelling, and the production quality was great as always. It's not super emotional or really, really deep like some of the earlier episodes with Stain or with Todoroki versus Izuku were, but it was still just great, so I'm still giving it very close to a 9, but I didn't think it quite deserved the 9, so I'm going to go 8.75 sound-based quirks out of 10. And that's it for this review, so if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Boku no Hero Academia, both anime and manga. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel, and if you want a link to the Discord server, just ask and I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.